Can you believe that it's already day 150 of our 5-minute in name only exercise encouragement? How are you? Let's take a look back on the day. Hello, lovely friends. It's Patty with Giddy Things. How are you today? I am doing well. Thank you. So today I am on the mend from what seems to have been food poisoning. So yeah, but I'm on the mend, and I'm really grateful. It could have been much worse. It could have been much, much worse. And so I'm super grateful. I today did something a little bit different because I didn't want to lose my leg strength. It's been a minute since I did the pedaling, but I did it today. I did like 16 minutes and 22 seconds or something like that of pedaling. And I also did the 5-minute upper body workout that I've been telling y'all about that I've been doing. It seems like I enjoy it, but I don't. Be not misled. I do not enjoy it. It's just I enjoy it more than I do other types of exercising. One of the things I really like about the upper body exercise that I've done and have linked in several of these videos is that it is really precisely timed. So the expectations are set at the very beginning. And again, I can kind of look at the screen, see the movement she's doing, and then there's a timer that when those repetitions are about to be over for that movement, it goes ahead and counts down with a little beep for you. And so I like that a lot. And it's very straightforward, 30 seconds for each movement. I don't have to, again, count reps, so I like that a lot. I'm distracted because it's so pretty outside. It's always so pretty outside. I'm not distracted from you. I'm just distracted from looking at the screen a little bit. Y'all, it's just lovely. And something exciting has happened. A few leaves are falling. Do you like autumn as much as I do? I am much more comfortable in cold weather now, cool and cold weather. Now, to be honest, here we are in a dream of a climate. It is fantastic. I mean, the most recent few days, it's been like high 70s, low 80s, and then with lows in the 60s at night. We have very few days of super hot weather, and when it is, it's a different kind of hot than the one that I grew up in Louisiana. I know people say this all the time, but it's true, right? There's baking hot and there's boiling hot, and we have good humidity here. It's an agricultural area, and when I mean good, I mean sometimes it's pretty dang high, but it's not as hot as it is in Louisiana, and so that makes a big difference. I know, like, we've got folks in Florida and other places that are really, you know what I'm talking about. There is a real big difference. We used to say when I was younger, it's the difference between boiling and baking. I'd rather bake a little bit than boil, right? And I grew up in a boiling climate. So it's lovely here. The clouds are fluffy in the sky. I'll take a little bit of a picture and add it to the front of this video, or a little bit of video, and do that. I've been trying to catch the leaves falling, but it's happening so seldom that I haven't been able to really catch it. Maybe I haven't been trying hard enough. I don't know. But when I'm looking at them right now, they're beautiful yellow leaves. I'll have to ask the disembodied voice what kind of leaves they are. The disembodied voice and the handy helper have taken a couple of our kitty cats to the vet. So Zazzles, who is our eldest, she's close to 11 years old, cat in the house. She's in the house right now. And she's the eldest of all of our cats. I'm pretty sure we've had, older cats, but, won't talk anymore about that. But she needed to go to the vet just for a general checkup. The disembodied voice has been watching her and concerned about her at her age, that she might be developing diabetes or something like that. So he wanted to get our wonderful vet. We have such a great vet to check on her. And then Tiggy Marie. Oh my goodness. Zazzle's name is Zazzy Ray. Tiggy Marie. Oh my goodness. She has for the longest time quivered her butt like a male, and just nothing would come out. And then, of course, all of our pets are spayed and neutered. That's a big deal with us, to trap, neuter, or spay. Neuter kind of means both things, I guess. Vaccinate and release for the ones that are feral and are outside. And then, of course, the same kind of treatment, but just for our inside cats. So that's one of the great things about our vet. He's phenomenal. He loves animals so much, and he keeps his practice in such a way that he can afford to charge less. And if you've got several pets, if you've even got one pet, you know how expensive it can be. And we have so many pets, and we want to take good care of them, that even like getting the pet insurance, I haven't tried that. I've heard from some people it really works. If we had a couple of pets, it might be cost effective for us, but we have so many that it's not cost effective. And then again, I think for some of the plans, it's like $600 a month for a pet, and that's a lot of money for most people. And to be honest, if anybody, I'm not monetized or sponsored yet, but if any pet insurance company wants to prove that they can really work, I'm your girl. I have tons of them. We have all the cats, and the dog, Boba Fetch, and the goat, Scamper, as of now. So we're trying to keep the kitten population down by being really good about spay, neuter, whether they are, and vaccinate, obviously, and release, whether or not they are our animals. Sometimes they end up staying around here if it's cats, right? And we've tried, when a cat has been not feral but friendly, we try really hard to see if we can find to whom that cat belongs. But I'll tell you what happened one time, and then I'll get back to the exercise, I promise. But we're just having a little chitty chat. Oh, it's a cow. One of our cow neighbors. So what happened one time is, I'm pretty sure I know where one of our cats, our Charles de Gaulle, Charlie, or as I call him, Charmy, because he is very charming kitty, I think belonged to someone on our road here rurally. Well, belonged to, I think he was an outside. He's a floppy cat. They called him a fainting. He's a floppy cat. And he will just, when he used to, when he was younger, especially, he's older now. He's probably a little bit younger than Zazzy, but not much, probably 9 years old. He used to, if you just even looked at him, he was Duncan. I think he's probably Duncan's father. I think he's probably Tiggy Marie's father. Duncan's a feral cat outside. I think Charlie is one of those kind of cats who's everybody's daddy, and he didn't get fixed until later. We didn't get him in. When we got him, he was an outside cat, feral, but we knew he wasn't feral from the beginning. But we took him and got him fixed right away, and then he just definitely needed to come inside. He was one of those cats who really wanted to, so we let him, and he's a wonderful pet. However, when I posted him on social media to see if he was anybody in our neighborhood's cat, for if people knew to whom he belonged. This is a small area, so a lot of times people are like there's a dog that people are like, oh yeah, that's Frank. Not our dog, but in a different, slightly different, but not that far away area. There were people, it really cracked me up, because a bunch of people came on the community thing, went, oh yeah, that's Frank. And they had people had I want to say 7 different names for this dog. Most people call him Frank, but people would be like, oh yeah, that's Tucker. We call him Tucker. He comes around this. So it turned out people started posting. This was so funny. And then I promise I'll get back on topic. People started posting his puppies that they had. And they would be like, tongue in cheek. And they were putting little emojis up to laugh. But they were like, I want child support now that I know that other people know who this dog is. So it was It was so funny. Y'all, it was so funny. I'm getting tickled. I'm going to have to get untickled so I can talk regularly about. So, somebody came on and said, "Oh yeah, that's our cat." And I said, "Do you know if he's neutered?" And I'm serious, right? I being totally just, do you know? I want to know, because if not, we need to get him neutered. And I knew he had recently fathered. We have the three Jackson kittens. There are two outside who wanted to remain feral, they remained feral, but three of them really weren't going to do as well outside, so we brought them in, and that's Fluffy Germain and Randall Tito and Asher Michael. And they're beautiful kitties. Charlie's a beautiful cat. And honestly, I'll try to put Charlie in this video. And so we were just like, we knew that he had not been neutered at that point, but we wanted to see if anything had happened, like if he had gone walkabouts and gone to another house and somebody had neutered him. And we never heard back about him. And I said, well, I'm not just going to leave him out here to father a bunch of poor, unfortunate kitties that aren't going to have a home or are going to be on the coyote menu, which is a big thing here. So we're not going to, take that chance. And so we gave ample opportunity for someone to come up and say, yeah, we're going to have him neutered, or we had him neutered. They didn't. So we took him and had him neutered, because you know what? You just got to do what's right. And he's a sweetheart kitty. We would have done it even if he weren't. And it's so funny because the Jackson kitty's mama, may God rest her soul, she crossed the Rainbow Bridge. We had to take her to we have a wonderful urgent care vet out here. It's not 24 hours, but he is absolutely fantastic. And it's a small staff there. And it seems like it's going to be really expensive. And taking care of animals is expensive. We've come to accept that. And it's part of what we do to help. And that reminds me to tell y'all something before we're done, but I'm going to stay on this track for a while with my attention difference and not be all squirrel. So we took Charlie, got him fit, but these kittens, their mama, God love her, she was as feral as they come. We just called her MK, Mama Kitty, and she was as feral as they come. She was a good mama, and George tolerated, not George. Y'all, I had to cut the clip. I won't go into the details because it's kind of boring. But the handy helper won her trust, as he usually does. But he didn't try to approach her and stuff, because she was obviously a very hissy, spitty, bitey, scratchy kitty. But she let him, like Birdie, who is the mom of some of our other cats, he let let him babysit, and so did MK. She was very happy to have him babysit. And so he socialized those kittens really early on. Well, two of them kind of had their mom's demeanor, Sandy and Cheetah Weetabix. And Sandy Shore and Cheetah Weetabix, they really like the handy helper, and they also like the disembodied voice, but they're very skittish, and there are boundaries with them that their staff, the disembodied voice and the handy helper, I'm their financial backer, but they know how to approach them, and they know what they like to engage in as far as pets and things, and what they don't respond well to. So she had those 5 kitties, and 3 of them are in the house. And so we knew. I'll try to get some film of Charlie's face and then Fluffy's face. She has her daddy's face. We knew whose daddy he was. And we think he may be Tiggy's, and there are a couple of other cats. Like Duncan is the same color as Asher Michael. And so we kind of think that, Charlie is probably a neighborhood dad, if you see what I'm saying, like Frank or Tucker or Buddy, the dog who was too. So that was all well and good. So I said that was expensive. You know what's expensive now too? Eating. Eating is expensive. And there are lots of people who do not have those, the budget for what should be a human right to get food. It is so easy to feed people, and I know I've gotten on this soapbox before. It is cheap and easy to feed people if you know how. Now, I say that eating is expensive now. If you don't make enough money, any amount of food can be expensive, right? And so the minimum wage federally is still $5.25. I'm going back away. $7.25, and that is not enough. And yeah, a lot of places pay more than that now, like $11. That is still not enough, right? This thing was going around. I never fully understood it. And this is going to be a longer video, but I like those anyway. I never fully understood, and still don't, and don't need to, the whole thing about people talking about hash browns on social media. I don't follow social media closely enough to know. So, and I'm happy not to. But somebody was saying, when people were explaining it to Landon Bryant at Landon Talks, he is so fantastically funny. I'll link him in the description. As I was watching Landon, he has a really great a great video series, and then he also wrote a book that's a field guide to the South called Bless Your Heart, and it's so funny and it's so accurate. And I can hear him talking. It's written the way that he speaks, and I really enjoy that. And I think there's an audiobook that he reads, and I haven't listened to that yet, but I kind of want to. It's a great book. So, why was I even bringing him up? I'm not sure. Oh, the hash brown thing. So somebody said that people who worked at McDonald's were joking that they worked because the McDonald's hash brown prices went up apparently because of the price of potatoes. And there's a whole health thing about hash browns from McDonald's that I'm not going to get into here. You may know more about that. I do too, but no point. It's searchable on Google. You could Google it, as Edward says in Twilight. So people were saying, oh, I worked for 2 McDonald's hash browns an hour. Apparently the price of hash browns had gone up to the point that 2 of them cost about what some people were making an hour of work. Now, I will not get on that whole soapbox either, but you can probably tell from the way I'm talking, I don't think the minimum wage is high enough. It's just not. It used to be commensurate, but with living expenses, and it's not now. And it's easy to say about anybody, oh, they could just fill in the blank. They could just, no, if we haven't walked in those shoes, we don't know what people could just. And there's an old saying that it's hard to pull yourself up by your own bootstraps if you don't have any boots. If you can't afford boots, how are you going to pull yourself up by your bootstraps? And I totally agree with that. Y'all may have noticed that that's the way I am. People first. People, it says I have a sticker on the bulletin board that says people over profit. 100% of the time, that's how I feel. So we could take care of each other. We're supposed to take care of each other. That's why God put us here together. But again, I could go on, and maybe I will at another time, but I'll break it up into segments to be friendly and helpful about it. So all of that to say that our local food bank, we've got several, but our main one is so phenomenal. They work with Feeding America of Southwest Virginia. They work with all different kinds of things in our area. We've got a really good community care system here. But one of the things they pointed out that I wanted to talk about, because this is the way it works for any funded food bank, and I wanted to make sure that I said this. So with any kind of funding, if you've ever been involved with anything that is grant funded, that's money that you don't have to pay back, right? Is a grant. That's why it's called a grant. It's granted. You don't have to give it back. With any kind, like Pell Grants that are part of the FAFSA array of financial aid for college. Well, these grants also apply to a lot of food banks. Some of the biggest food banks, like our local Faith in Action, it's ecumenical and it's wonderful. That's the one I'm talking about. They are phenomenal. They feed something like 7,000 or 8,000 people in an average month in our small area. I mean, a close town to us is Abingdon, Virginia, and Abingdon only has like a little under 9,000 people in it. So think about how much that is. And Abingdon has a lot of rural surrounding. Abingdon's rural too. It's agricultural, but it's a historical town, colonial town is what I meant. And it has a lot of little dotted established communities, of which we are one, around it. And so that's where this particular food bank is. And if we needed a food bank, we would use it. And if we needed a food bank, that is the one probably that we would need to use, or someplace that was supported by them. Well, they put out a social media posting that said, look, we've heard that people are saying, oh, I don't need this as much as some people do right now because grocery prices are so high, but I qualify for it. But, I can eke by, I can stretch and eke by, and I'm not going to go get the food at the food bank because other people need it more than I do. That is such a misconception. If you are dealing with something that is grant funded, here is the odd truth about grant funding, is that If you don't use it, you lose it. They will get fewer funds if people do not, people who qualify, right? Who, it's a paperwork kind of process. You have to, your income has to be low enough to qualify. But after you find out you qualify, and definitely do find out, you need to use that service all the time that you can. You need to go to everyone that you can go to, because if you don't, they will lose the funding. They need you to use it. Again, use it or lose it. Super important. I want to make sure, I may even make a short about that to just make sure that that point is clear. Right. So they did, I reposted that. I reposted it on my social media and asked, people to pay attention. Many of my students need these services, or their families need these services, and they watch my Facebook posts and Instagram posts and things like that. They really want to know what's going on, and so that's a good way to share it. So that's important. If you know folks who are using food banks that are grant funded, especially grant funded, any food banks, but if they're grant funded, especially, make sure that they are using those, because if not, those funds will not persist. Okay, well, I hope you know how loved you are. Back on the exercise thing, I did 16 minutes and 22 seconds, I think, on the peddler, just being very careful with Poncho and Lefty because they are very much still wobbly. And then I did the upper body. 5 minutes doesn't sound like much, but it sure does feel like a lot. Again, hope you know how loved you are. I certainly love you so much. I hope that you will continue to go with me in peace and love to serve others. And please do pray for the world with a special whispered intention for the beautiful Ukraine.